Staying calm when you're feeling anxious or in a situation where you really need to be calm.
Yes.
What's the secret to that? And why are some people so calm all the time?
Yeah, well, other people, seem to really freak out more. And how perhaps to learn some of that behavior, because it's very useful to have.
Yep, so we're going to give you some tips on staying calm in this week's episode on Get Real with the English Sisters. Mind, health and anxiety. Yeah, staying calm is a lot about, I think it's about centering yourself and being in yourself and not out in the world. Going back to more mindfulness.
It is about being in yourself, but I think a lot of the times, in order to not freak out, it's useful to look outside of yourself.
Yes.
So because if you're in your own mind and you're in a situation which you're going to find really stressful, there are so many out there, there could be anything really, health reasons, job interviews. Oh, come on. There are so many things that most people find rather stressful and that are going to sort of cause us to feel a certain amount of anxiety. And so in those cases, sometimes it's best not to be in your mind, isn't it? How can you get out of your mind?
Well, it's best not to be in your mind if your mind is an anxious mind. But I think in order to stay calm, you have to practice, have a practice of calm, like a practice of yoga. You have to have a practice of calm every day. So you have to be mindful every day.
Yeah.
So stay in the present. Do not freak out. Do not go 100 breaths ahead of yourself.
Oh, right.
Be
so
in
you think it's more
a
breathing thing. Yeah, sort of like take a few deep breaths and be in that moment.
Be in your own presence without having a runaway mind.
Yeah, but how do you stop the mind from running away?
Well, then you have to practice, don't you?
Yes, it's
a breathing practice. It's listening to meditation. It's a hypnotherapy practice. It's being in the present.
Yes. I mean, the reason why I'm laughing is because I know that for us that we've done this for so many years, it seems like it's
more
easy
natural.
And it's more natural. But if you think about it, it's not that easy, really. It's easier said than done, is what I mean. But it's not really. It is actually just as easy as it's said once you know how to do it, which is like remembering that to stay in the moment and what that really does mean for somebody. What does that actually mean, stay in the moment?
Well, like if you see a car crash and there's it's an emergency,
okay,
and you're not a first responder. If you start going in your own mind and you start panicking and thinking, oh, this could have been me, oh my God, I hope they're okay, I hope they haven't got kids, I hope that this, I hope that, I hope they're alive, and all of this, then you're going to panic. Whereas if you stay, you take a deep breath and you stay in yourself and say, okay, what do I have to do? I have to call the emergency service. I have to go and see if I can do anything to help without hurting the person. And you just say, okay, how am I going to deal with this? Stay centered, stay calm, and you go and take action, then you'll be okay. But if you allow your mind to run away with itself, you're going to start feeling palpitations.
Yeah.
You'll feel paralyzed.
Shortness of breath. Yes. You'll get all the typical anxiety responses, which is exactly what you don't want in those circumstances.
And that's the kind of response you also get in everyday life if you are anxious.
Yeah,
that's where panic attacks come from, and this overthinking things and allowing your mind to just go run riot. Really.
Yes, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, there is a technique, isn't it? Yeah, it is a bit like what you were talking about. First responders, they are actually trained to overcome situations of anxiety. and there's a whole training involved in to help these people, to help them save us.
Yes.
And they have to go through this kind of training. We don't actually go through it in normal life. We kind of do, because if you think about it, ever since you're little, you do go through situations that can cause you a lot of stress. For example, I was thinking about myself. Only when I was 5 years old, I was called up to the headmaster's office at school because I was apparently being naughty or something. Yeah. And I remember waiting outside that massive door. You know, I was tiny, and thinking, oh my gosh. And I remember feeling like, for the first time in my life, I think I felt like my heart beating fast. I remember that, and I was thinking, gosh, this is going to be really scary. You know, the headmaster, he's like a big scary person. And and
Actually,
so
would if you were tiny and fine.
because I was literally 5 years old, and the teacher was screaming at me, and I remember it was just because I wasn't good. I could not understand maths, and in those days, unfortunately, it was a Catholic school. They were extremely strict, and I had dyslexia, which that nobody knew about in those days. So, or dyspraxia, I can't remember the one with the numbers. Dyscalculus, yeah. And I couldn't. The numbers wouldn't stay still. And anyway, so I remember hiding under the desk, and then being pulled out and then taken to the headmaster, and expecting, literally, I think, you know, we were hit in those days, you know.
It sounds terrible.
It sounds terrible.
No, but they would give you the slipper, wouldn't they?
I think, yeah, it was like...
For girls, it was
for
a slipper,
girls,
and
it was
for
like
boys, it was
the
a
shoe
cane.
that you would get hit with. And for boys, yeah, it was this big long stick, a bamboo stick or something.
A cane.
A cane, yeah. You were hit. So I remember thinking, gosh, I'm going to get hit now. I mean, that is horrifying. And that was the first time I ever felt my heart beating like that. And then I do remember thinking, obviously, about my mum, because I was 5. And I remember thinking, oh, my mum's going to help me, you know, somehow thinking about my mum. And I managed to calm myself down so that when I went into the office, I wasn't actually crying and in a state of... And I managed to explain to him what had happened. I said I was hiding under the desk. In the end, he turned out to be a really nice guy. I mean, he was as sweet as ever. He said, okay, don't worry about it, you know, tell me. And he was actually really kind, and surprisingly. And but I mean, I would see him many times after that. He would just say, oh, hello, it's you again. What did you do? You know, unfortunately, I was always sent to him.
Because you had that abusive teacher.
Yes. and because I just couldn't understand the numbers. I couldn't literally understand them. So I was always being told off.
You were being bullied by that teacher. I remember I'd always see you outside the classroom.
It was horrific.
Yeah.
That was a horrible time. Anyway.
That's not what we're talking about.
No, but I think I kind of learned a technique on my own. Is like, I saw my mum's face.
Self-soothe.
Yes, I managed to self-soothe. So what I'm saying is, now as grown-ups, what we can do is, when we are feeling really anxious, we can also take the deep breaths, is what you were saying, but also go to a place where it is happier in our minds.
A safe place.
A safe place. Some people can imagine seeing a pet. They're loved pets, and they can imagine that. Or you can see, you know, somebody else's face, or hear somebody's words that are going to be reassuring.
I think our mum used to always see her mum who'd passed away.
Yes.
But she would get great comfort from that.
Yes, she would. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. So you see...
Even though she was no longer here, but...
She would imagine her.
She would have her in her mind, saying that she was protecting her.
And our mum always used to say, I remember also, when I was a child going to the dentist, that was another way when I used to have to overcome my fear of the injection, because we used to be so scared of injections. And mum would always say, go to the beach, because that was obviously her happy place, you know, go to the beach. When I was a kid, I would think, go to the beach, you know, go to the beach. But somehow with her words telling her, she would describe it. Listen to the sound of the waves. You're walking in the water, you know, that there's the sun shining. And I would think, look, I'm just about, that would help. Mm-hmm. So it's like...
She was a bit like a hypnotherapist.
She would always do that with me.
I never used to really understand it.
I didn't understand it either. But it was obviously of great comfort. It's not like I thought, oh, Mum is actually using some kind of technique. To tell you the truth, I think it was just so natural to her that she just said, I think of the beach.
Yeah. She'd go to a different place.
Yes, go to a different place. So you're not actually in the dentist chair now. Go somewhere else. Close your eyes, she would say. Close your eyes, because when you close your eyes, you can go to different places. But see, you can't, like you're going before a meeting or something where you're feeling really anxious, but you can take the deep breaths and go somewhere else, literally.
You can also use...
Not literally, I mean. Imagine, not literally. You stay there figuratively, exactly.
You can also use your body though, can't you? You can use your physicality to...
Yes.
To like there's lots of studies on the famous power pose where you put your hands by the side, the Wonder Woman pose.
The Wonder Woman, yeah.
That'll actually embody calmness in you and confidence. You can also breathe. Remember to breathe properly.
Yes, absolutely. And if you find that at the moment you can't seem to think of somebody that calms you down or some place, a happy place, you can also just literally start focusing on something you can see that's right in front of you.
In the room.
Yes. You can focus on a dot on the wall, the crack on the wall. You can focus on something that will get your mind out of that place.
Yeah, that'll keep you in the present moment.
Feel what the chair feels like if you're sitting down. What do the surroundings look like? What are the curtains? What do they look like? What does the door look like? You start focusing on other things, the fabric of the person sitting next to you. And surprisingly, by putting so much attention on something else, you can get your mind out of its own place of anxiety. It's a distraction. Yes, it's a distraction technique, but that does work in hypnotherapy as well, doesn't it?
Definitely works.
So that's another way of, that's a great way of, getting immediately out of your own.
Well, you have to take control of your mind, don't you?
You do.
Your mind is a little bit like a computer, so what you put in will
give you the results.
Yeah, will give the results. So if you're putting runaway anxious thoughts into your mind, your body will respond like that. Whereas if you're calm, if you practice walking in the forest or in the countryside or in a nice park, or you have some kind of fitness practice, you do yoga or running, you'll know what it's like to be in that moment and feel that comforting feeling of just enjoying and being in the moment of whatever you're doing. And so you can harness that feeling and take it with you when you're in a stressful, non-calm situation.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Can't you?
Yes.
But I think if you take the time to just feel calm every day, whether it's listening to a meditation or, reading a lovely book or doing your favourite, whatever it is, your favourite hobby, activity,
whatever it is,
or hobby, you will, you can take those feelings with you and they will allow you to feel calmer in more stressful situations.
So it's like a skill, isn't it? Like what we were saying about the first responders. Yes. It's a skill that can be learnt to then use on a daily practice, even when, you might think,
you don't need it.
But in reality, in life, even when you're driving, you're stuck in traffic, whatever it is, there's so many levels of stress, aren't there, that can affect you.
Yeah.
And it's how you manage to react to these levels is, how happy your life will be in the end, what kind of a life you're going to have at the end of each day.
It's crucial, isn't it?
It's crucial. It is crucial. So it's a great skill to, make sure it's a habit. Practice it every day.
Practice makes perfect.
Absolutely. It really does.
Perfection does not exist, but yes.
No, it kind of makes it so that you can...
Makes it okay, I think.
Yeah, so that you can handle, your
Your more stressful things that
Yeah.
can trigger you.
Exactly.
Your triggers. If you know you have a trigger that that affects you, practice it. Practice keeping calm in those situations. If you have someone if you have someone, I'm just thinking, if you have a person that really gets to you every time you see them and makes you feel really anxious, remember, before you prepare yourself before you're going to see them. So do the power pose, do these little tricks where you put your hands on, you stand up tall as a tree, and you can imagine a cord holding you up and feeling powerful. Put your shoulders back and then go with a deep breath before you talk to them.
Absolutely.
So you can prepare yourself, can't you?
You prepare yourself, especially if you know you're going to have a meeting with them, or they're just a part of your family, a family member. Inevitable, you're gonna see them. Most of the time, you can get ready for it.
You can. Get ready.
You get ready. You get ready. You put your, you get ready. You can, and if you know that it's going to be, we used to have this. We wrote about it in one of our books. I think it was like an invisible umbrella that you can just open and allow a lot of, it's like a protective shield, isn't it?
Yes, to allow the things just to fall off the umbrella as if they were raindrops.
Yes, and just drop to the floor. And
you won't be affected. You won't get wet.
You won't get wet. You won't get hurt, and you'll be protected. So it's another kind of imaginary tool that you can use.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed.
Well, thank you for listening. And we're going to be staying calm.
Yeah, feel free to share this podcast because, our aim is to help as many people as we can that are not feeling calm at the moment, and to feel more calm. And
it's all about mind, health and anxiety, isn't it? How we live our lives, trying to live our lives in a mindful, healthy and anxiety-free way. And hopefully being able to transmit some of that calmness onto you as well, that you can share with your family and friends too.
Yes.
Lots of love and smiles from the English sisters. Oh, and please do send us a text message and tell us how you're feeling. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.